better cooks. Oh my god, I love her. I think talking about the salt, fat, acid, heat.
Yeah, and it's on Netflix. You can watch it, and she makes some of those recipes on there. She's really charming.
Kenji's a master. I just made one of his recipes, RoboStuff says.
He's awesome.
Kenji is amazing.
Kenji also has an amazing, his Instagram. The only thing, I know he has to make his money too, so he does stuff for, like, New York Times and Bon Appetit, that, like, they have, like, paywalls on their website. I don't know.
Oh, really?
I would say don't spend $5 to $10 a month on, like, New York Times recipes, because they don't teach you how to cook. They just give you recipes. Buy one of these books for $20, $30.
Then you can pay the money.
Read it, and then, like...
And then go and do the recipes.
And then, like, I don't know.
You don't have to. I'm just saying, if you want to pay for those recipes, learn how to cook first, and then use the recipes.
There was one recently, though, that... I'm trying to think of what it was. Where he did it exclusively for New York Times Magazine. And it was like... man, I can't remember what it was, but it almost made me buy a subscription. Because I was like, I've always wondered about that. And he doesn't have it in the book. And he did it like a breakdown of, like, some kind of old wives' tale of cooking, where I've always been like, I don't know if that's true. It doesn't really make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And...
Can you scroll through the chart, because my hands are gunky?
Yeah.
Classic mistake. I should have weighed
Scroll up
this.
further?
Sorry, I just can't. Yeah, I don't.
I think you got it all.
Which one? Yum.
I just used one of his recipes.
New York Times.
I love he writes a recipe and tells you why it works. Definitely. Which one? Dinner with Mom asked RoboStuff. Deviled eggs? Yes. Man, I wish I could eat deviled eggs, honestly. New York Times has a comprehensive cookbook on Amazon. I actually do have that one. Those are two. I have Bon Appetit, and I have New York Times, like the really big. They look like a dictionary. Yeah, there's a couple of them in here. I don't know where they come from. Probably this pile of produce or something.
This is all so fresh, though. It's not dying.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they didn't have like a fruit fly on them.
Oh, I suppose.
You know?
Yeah.
I just figured, I just saw them this week, so I figured they might have been on it from the grocery store.
Yeah.
I do like the Bon Appetit comprehensive cookbook and the New York Times one. They have a lot of, like, really old school recipes in there from a bunch of different chefs. They have, like, a lot of stuff for, like, dinner parties. They have cocktails. They have desserts. Those are good to have around just to, like, I don't know, if you're... I'm trying to think of, like, the last weird thing that we were trying to make. I think it was, like, a soup or something, and I was like, what am I going to do with all this kabocha squash or something? And so I went through there, and I just looked, you know, of course, there was, like, 2 or 3 recipes for kabocha squash something. So those are good. They don't have, like, a ton of, like, how and why, but they have a bunch of recipes. It's like a dictionary of recipes, which is really helpful at times. And they're not too expensive. I think it was like $20, $30, maybe. Kenji's book, Wok, I fucking love.
Same.
Because there's... You know, if you want to make beef and broccoli or General Tso's chicken or any Asian food that you've ever had, you look online,
the recipe.
That person who's making that recipe, I guarantee you, well, maybe even if they are Asian, I feel like you're flooded with all the stuff that gets pushed to the top because they pay for it or whatever. It's hard to find an authentic recipe. So that's why I like the Wok book, because there's a lot of... ethnic recipes that use techniques that I'm not familiar with, being from like a French cooking background. I was making beef and broccoli, and one of the steps is to take all the beef and cut it, and then submerge it in water, and then like agitate the shit out of it in water, and then rinse it like several times. And I'm like, this is the weirdest thing. Why would I rinse my meat after I cut it and agitate the crap out of it?
Does it absorb the water?
I think it's just to like it like tenderizes it, and it lets it allow, like, the marinade gets in there better. Oh. And then you put like the baking soda is in the marinade, and it's like